Stocks are certainly breaking out, and it is the perfect opportunity to be making money. We are now in a massive bull market, and you should be capitalizing on this situation. So if you're not, and even if you are, then this is the video for you. We're going to be going over some of my top current-ish picks as to what I see in the market and what opportunities are coming up currently, and where exactly we can expect the market as a whole to be heading in this overbought moment. So currently looking here on my Excel system, there are many stocks in which are reaching my parameters for a potential look into, but I have basically narrowed these down, and we will be going on into these for this video. And starting here is Regeneron Pharmaceuticals. Now this is actually ranked first on my Excel system. It does look to be relatively undervalued, and so therefore you would actually think, oh, it's a great play. However, I would not recommend a position in this stock at this current moment. Looking here on the Bollinger Bands, it is certainly breaking out relative to its previous couple of weeks. However, if we do really look at a regression trend, then this stock is still definitely not doing relatively well on a long-term basis. I've really messed up this regression trend here, but if we do zoom all the way out, not that far, sorry, that's completely a mistake, but if we even go this far, we can see that we're still not breaking out. But that isn't actually what I wanted to say in terms of not buying into this. If you do actually look at their EMAs, this stock is still certainly falling. It is now above the 50-day EMA, but if we looked back here to March when we were above this 50-day EMA, then this stock just continued to fall past that. So 50-day isn't really an indication of support, especially when the stock is already falling. So for that reason, I would stay well clear of this. So now we have Palantir. Now this stock has done incredibly well to climb back up from its sell-off here at the end of June, and it is incredibly strong. It always is. This stock just doesn't ever slow down. So for that reason, it's always a good buy. In my opinion, it is definitely overvalued now, even according to the analysts, with the average pricing this in at a 27% loss from here. However, I still think this is going to continue to rally. It's got all of the fundamentals behind it, apart from the fact it is massively, massively overvalued. This is just the stock that I think people tend to buy because they know it's going to go up. They don't really know that the fundamentals aren't really there for the next couple of years' growth. Long term, of course, it will start to plateau out, but this company is around a 5 to 600 price to earnings ratio, and that essentially means that the money you're putting into this stock today, you're expecting the reward in 5 to 600 years' time, and that is obviously you'll be lucky to be alive, of course. So for me, it's absolutely ridiculous, this stock. However, I still think that this is going to continue to rally. We're seeing it close consistently above all of its EMAs, and on a Bollinger Band here we can see that it is only just now starting to look to be overbought, with it climbing back through its 20-day moving average there. So for me, it's a good stock to be momentum trading, but this could certainly fall with a massive, regard, and it will definitely hurt your wallet if you've got a lot in this. So, and again, I'm not telling you to go out and buy any of the stocks mentioned in this video. And speaking of a really good stock to buy, which I'm not mentioning that you should buy, AMD Advanced Money Destroyer. So today we've seen this climb up absolutely massive amounts. I think it's up around 5 to 6% on the day currently. It's doing absolutely incredible, and I think this rally will continue from here. It's just now broken above this level of resistance of 148. Will it close above this? I imagine so. Looking at it on a macro basis, a micro basis, sorry, it does look to be relatively consistently sustainable in a sense. However, when you do look at these Bollinger Bands, it is now certainly overbought, indicating we can expect this to essentially go sideways or fall back down slightly in the coming days, just for a slight hedge against resistance, of course. But if we do look at its EMAs, we can see here this stock is now in a golden crossover, and it's closing consistently above all of its moving averages, which is exactly what you want to see. Furthermore, on a price target, this stock is now it's had an upgrade from HSBC to a $200 price target, which was a double of what they had previously, which was $100. So for me, AMD looks to be something which could go huge from here. Of course, now industry is realizing it's not meant to be the number one replacement for NVIDIA. It's the number two. It's the next best thing. And companies like Meta, Microsoft, Tesla, they all know it. They're investing big. They're buying AMD CPUs, of course, and GPUs. So it's something in which this company is just going to continue to do incredibly well. They're obviously investing a lot in their CapEx. So this company looks to be set up for a great long-term future, and when you do look at their forward PE and trailing PE, then this stock just again looks to be set up in an incredible situation. Essentially, we've seen the PE falling down consistently now, and I think when the next earnings come out, I think again, it will be positive for them. Warner Bros is a stock in which isn't actually in profit in their revenue. They're doing pretty awful in their financials. However, their chart is set up in such a juicy way. I mean, what a weird way to talk about a stock, but it really is. So it's similar to AMD. These are the metrics in which I look for. So we're consistently now closing above all of the EMAs, and we are in a bullish crossover. That's what we want to see in the EMAs. We want to see that we are above them all. The selling momentum has ended within this stock, and this is what a lot of hedge funds, Wall Street look for as well. Looking at the Bollinger Bands, this is starting to get concerning as it is consistently overbought. It's above the 20-day SMA, which is good, and right now it's looking to be relatively overbought. But when you do actually look at analyst price targets, which is this here, there is near a 100% upside according to the analysts, which is absolutely incredible, with a 12% downside. And speaking of another company in which is just fundamentally not there, we have Intel. Now, Intel, again, looks to be set up in actually a really decent way. They're in very early stages of looking decent. Of course, I have a very, very small position in Intel. It is my smallest because I don't really like the fundamentals behind the company, especially relative to how old the company is. Looking here on the crossover, we are in a bullish crossover, just about maybe by one or two candles, which are days here. So for me, it looks to be set up in a nice way. This could rally here from this point if going into the next couple of months, but is it fundamentally strong? Well, no, not at all. If we look here, we've seen a massive sell-off from all the way at the peak of near $50, and now we're all the way down at 22. So it looks to be as if this isn't actually going to be that supported, but it could certainly be something which could rally short term. And to really back up the fact that I don't see this going too far is the analysts really don't project much movement at all within this stock. They project a 21% upside and a near 40% downside. It is clear to say, though, similar to stocks like AMD, when these stocks do climb, analysts adjust their price targets in accordance to the current price. So if this does start to climb, these price targets will start to rise further, giving the stock an element of FOMO, giving people a reason to buy in. Broadcom looks absolutely amazing. Their forward PE is, I think, 30, with the trailing being around 100 and the current PE being around 100 as well. So this stock looks to be set up really nice for some actual, maybe potential long-term growth as well as potential short-term. Obviously, we're in a golden crossover on the EMAs. We're closing consistently well above them all. This could be the start of a great rally for this company, and I do genuinely believe that. If we look on the price targets here, there's a 23% downside with a 42% upside, with the average coming in roughly around where we are today. Bollinger Bands look sustainable for Broadcom currently. They are in between the high end and the 20-day SMA, so it looks to be as if this could just continue to have a sustainable rally from here. And another company in which looks to be as if they could be setting up for a rally in the short term is Qualcomm, which I can never say, so we're just going to say QCOM from here. Sounds like cucumber. But this stock looks to be set up in a decent way. I was eyeing this up around 2-3 days ago, and I didn't buy in, obviously, because I was like, I need some fundamental truth and some actual, not resistance, but support underneath this stock. And I was really waiting for these EMAs to cross. On the day I was looking, they were touching, and then all of a sudden, it sold off quite heavily. I mean, I think it sold off by about 1 to 2%, but it was enough to scare these EMAs away, essentially putting this into a worse off position, of course. So it doesn't look as supported anymore at all. So for me, I am staying out of this for now, but I do think long term I'm going to keep an eye on this. This could certainly be a good buy-in, and of course I'll let you guys know when I do think this is a good buy-in. So hit a like and subscribe, because that is exactly what I will be doing when I see the opportunity arise. But of course, this is not financial advice. If we look here on the Bollinger Bands, the 20-day SMA, we are now below this, indicating that there is a lot of selling pressure, and this is essentially where I would look to get out of a position. For example, with Micron here, this isn't related, but we have now actually seen this fall below its 20-day SMA, and this was my largest position. I still made a fair amount on this position, of course, but I have now trimmed it quite significantly, because this is where things can get a bit ropey. If it doesn't really manage to come back up from here, which I do think it will, it is a great company and its forward and trailing PE looks really favorable. But if it doesn't manage to do that, then I will be fully out. I'm sure my stop loss will get triggered. But if it does manage to start to rally again, I will get back in once I see there is sustainable growth within this stock. And finally, the big dog, NVIDIA. So this is absolutely rallying today. It does look to be forming some sort of a bearish star, though. We do want to see this candle thicken out a bit by the end of today, but of course it's very early in the trading day. I think the trading day has only been open about 2.5 hours as of recording this, so but don't take that with too much of concern, because again, this company long term, its prospects look absolutely unbelievable. Obviously on these Bollinger Bands now, it looks to certainly be overbought. However, I still don't think it's going to be an issue for NVIDIA, as this is now the largest, well, it has always been for the last forever, largest company in the US market. It's got a $4 trillion market cap now. It's doing absolutely amazing, and price targets are starting to look really favorable for this company, with the average coming in at 2%. There is a near 50% or 46% upside for this year, according to the analyst, with a 40% downside, which I would like to know what analyst has put a 40% downside on NVIDIA. I think that is absolutely ridiculous. So that is it for this video. Again, none of this was financial advice. I'm just going over some of these tickers for you to understand what's breaking out, where it could potentially go, and a little cheeky one for you again is Supermicro. It looks absolutely incredible, but we won't go. It's pretty much the same reasons as the other ones. We won't go into it too much, but again, I hope you have enjoyed this video and found it somewhat useful. If you could hit a like and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm trying to build my mini stock analyst empire, so if you could hit a like and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. With that being said, I'll see you for the next video.